Welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be beating the midwinter blues. We're out with Brian Brosdahl.
How you doing?
And we're going to be chasing
jumbo perch, and it's like 15 to 30 mile-an-hour winds outside and below zero, so time to get in a hard house.
Yes, we are hanging out in the hard house, and Brian said I can't show the outside of it because he wants to stay incognito.
Yeah, it's a secret color.
It's a secret color. And so we're gonna be in here chasing perch, and we're just kind of in like this shallow, flat area. These fish are gonna be moving around. We're gonna catch a few fish. I'm gonna film Brian catching a few fish, and he's gonna share some tips that'll help you catch more perch this season. So stay tuned, we got some good stuff.
Oh, I tell you what, upsizing to a larger coffin spoon really got these fish really aggressive. There's a nice little jumbo perch. I'm gonna get it back down. There's a pile. If you look at my Mega Live before I drop them, you could see them all sitting on there. Look at that. They're all over. So I'm gonna rebait and get down there quick. I got some fresh minnows. I only need one juicy morsel off of them. I'm just gonna take the head, but I go in through the top of the head and then down through the bottom. Then I snip it off. Call that the bloody stump. It's the bloody stump. Okay, let me get back down there quick. Gotta hurry before they get disinterested. Here we go. Oh, here they, oh, look at these things. They're like animals. Oh yeah, look at that. All right, look at.
That's a nice one, Brian.
Yeah, I love it. You know when they get hard to hang on to, they're nice. Plus I got a 1/4 ounce spoon. Striper! Striper alert. Uh-oh, he's getting kind of a belly here. Oh, I do too? Okay, thanks. We'll see you later. I'm using the whole forward half of the minnow, and it's twitching. That's what I call the bloody stump, and you could use the head if you're missing them. But these fish weren't very aggressive, so I went to a larger spoon, bright color, and I'm jigging the heck out of it. And they come in all angry. Here we go. Now you might be able to see my Mega Live here. Look at that. Holy cow. Look at them. Look at them. They're animals. Oh. There it is. Look at them. Look at them. You can even see their fins on it. Wow. Come on. Come on. Oh, he did have it. What a gentle hit by a big perch. A big Perchosaurus. How you doing, buddy? This is awesome. I love the action on these coffin spoons here. Let me show you this one here. If you like big jumbo perch, look at that. 2x4. That's a 2x4. You know the best part is these things are real aggressive. They're the apex predators in some lakes. Slab. And I'm not eating fish tonight. So you're a lucky day, sir. Goodbye. Yes. There he is. Go. We'll drop it back down. That is fun when they do that.
What are some of your favorite thoughts on color?
Well, in clear water, I love bright colors, and I also, people tend to jig at the bottom. I like to jig under the ice, even if I'm in 20 feet of water. I like to be a real aggressive and jig under the ice, and then as you drop it down, you make them more angry. And what's happening is you get an up bite there. See how they trick you? You get to real aggressive hits, and oh, I think he might have. No, he didn't get it. He didn't get it. He's after it though. Some of these perch are so big they're a little clumsy and they miss it. They have a hard time turning. They need more square footage to turn that body. Come on. Oh, he got mad because he missed it. They'll give it a couple hits and then they give up. Come on, come on. Here he comes. And I just keep jigging it. They have to stop it in order to catch it. So they're getting smart. They're bumping it, trying to knock the minnow head off. Come on back. Oh. my God. Wow, that was a gentle hit by a gentle jumbo. Look at him. I might have caught that one without bait. Coffin spoon so good, no bait needed. Come here, buddy. I just love action like that. Literally, we don't even have to stop the camera. We could just film the whole thing, but love jumbo perch. They're such a blast. There you go. Go get some crawdads.
What are some of your thoughts on location with this kind of deal?
Well, here's the thing. Perch will feed and graze on shallow flats with vegetation. One thing to remember is perch can drop down to really deep water in a matter of 4 or 5 hours. And I've followed schools of perch as they drop down, and they really keep dropping. And on some deep lakes, they'll drop down in the 30s from morning till the afternoon. But it takes them a little while to get used to it. So now we're going to drop it down. That's a heavy spoon for heavy perch. Okay. And a little bit of weather really helps. The fact that we have 15 to 30 mile an hour winds today. I like fishing on buckets and I like fishing in portable houses, but today we needed hard walls or you wouldn't even be able to hear us. The wind is whipping and weather makes fish move, especially big perch, walleyes. It doesn't matter. When weather is ripping like this, it's just like open water. When it's ripping and blowing on a point through the ice, it creates aggression. Weather makes fish get into a frenzy. And how do they know that we have this weather up here when it's, you know, a different world down there? They do. They can sense stuff, and they know when a storm's coming. They know when the pressures change. It messes with their air bladder, makes them sink down. If the pressure's low, their air bladder expands, and if the pressure's high, their air bladder deflates and they become hungry. Come on, fish. I just don't want to set the hook so hard that I... Oh, yeah. All right. Look at that. Not as big as those other ones, but much appreciated. Big jumbo perch are fun to catch, and they're great to eat, and I don't need giant perch to have a perch fry. That's a perfect one right there. Anything in that 9 to 11 inch is perfect. They never seem to have as many parasites, and big ones get into trouble. Big perch sometimes, if you clean them, they'll have some kind of a little bit more parasites or fish bites in them, and these are always clean. But the thing about perch is they're like cattle. They graze through the grasses like Cara. If there's any vegetation, weed stubble like milfoil stubble, because in the wintertime a lot of those vegetations are dead. Sometimes you'll have some cabbage that's still standing or bent over and broken, and it might not be producing oxygen, but it'll hold fish. But most of the weeds die from burnout in the summertime, just like your gardens. They only live so long and then they die off. Then the winds that come in the fall before freeze up rip all that dead stuff and blow it away. And now this time of year, anything that's left is a good place to look for perch. And of course, there could be walleyes coming through these spots, but they've dropped over the edge. The timeline, anytime in the winter that you have vegetation on a nice gradual food shelf or a flat, you'll find perch. And how do you find these fish? Well, you don't start the auger anymore. You press a button. But as a matter of fact, if anybody uses a power auger nowadays, people will go outside their house and look, because it's amazing. It's like seeing an old car going on the street. But electric augers are easy to drill. Cover some water, drill your holes 30-40 feet apart across the weed beds, then fine tune when you find the fish. There's no need to drill a whole bunch of holes in a small area, because you're just pushing the fish to someone else. But there are times where just a small move makes a big difference for big jumbo perch. And one of the key things are the contours, even in shallow water, dictate where these fish are going to move through. Because there's no fish a couple hundred feet this way or anywhere else. They come through here, or on an inside turn, and they graze up in this area, then go back over deep water, but they don't go down. They stay suspended and come back. In somebody's water, the perch will stay right next to the bottom when they go over deep water, so they're going down deep. On some other bodies of water, the perch stay at the level of the food shelf and then come back in and out. So just a few things to note. I was fishing on credit. Got to get some bait on there. They don't bite unless you give them a bribe. So again, we're going to give them the minnow head. They'll eat the tail. I keep a little pile of tails down here just in case I'm in a hurry. I just leave them right at my feet. Love that. I think they would have bit on anything here today as long as it's bright. But I tried silver, no reaction, so we're going to stick with bright colors. You know, here's the thing, from early winter to midwinter, the perch will start up in the shallows, really feeding hard. They're coming off their fall bite. And in weeds, the same places you'll find pike fishing spots and are the same places you'll fish perch, where there's big bays of weeds, riverbed, a creek that comes in. It's all part of that. And as winter progresses, we get cold fronts that roll in, and the fish will dump down in the basin because the basin has a lot of food. And perch will surround themselves with forage, whether it's minnows or crayfish. If they're up on the shallow flats, they're feeding on crayfish, darters, and of course smaller perch, whatever they can fit in their mouth. But from early winter, early ice, to vegetation that's still kind of there, and so the sparing areas, to small lakes that lead to other large lakes, that's early winter. And then when midwinter comes, some lakes, the fish will dump into the basin where there's massive amounts of mud, bloodworms, all kinds of insect larvae like mayflies and everything from bloodworms, mayflies, mostly big stuff. They're not zooplankton eaters, a perch. They don't have eyes like crappies and bluegills, but they'll eat anything that's big. Water bugs, backstroke beetles, freshwater shrimp, of course, and they're cannibals. So huge year classes of small perch that are floating around in the basins are what they're going to dine on. And then crayfish, they'll be on a shallow cara flat or in the rocks, but they'll also dump down. Crayfish don't just stay shallow. I've seen crayfish as deep as 60 feet of water on some clear bodies of water. So one thing to remember as winter progresses, they're using mud flats, deep basin mud flats, and they're grazing across those. But remember, this will be a couple weeks at a time. Then they'll rise up onto the food shelves. So you got to keep checking those areas. So one who does their homework will have the pile of perch, because everybody's out searching the basin right now. And we went back shallow and they're here. But there's not a lot of decaying weeds. There's nice clean cara weeds and a few standing bent cabbage, and they're coming in and hitting hard. And we're jigging aggressive with big spoons because we want to catch big perch. And as late winter comes, when that ice gets thinner, from melting off, the snow melts off, the perch start pushing to the shallows to spawn. So they'll be in basin areas right next to the weed beds, and that's where perch get really fat. They're full of eggs, and they start getting ready to spawn. So they're perusing areas looking for a good weed bed to stick their eggs. And they have to stick their eggs, and they pull out like pantyhose. So if you find an area that has weeds, basin coming up to it on a big body of water, you've got a good spot. And that's a good, what we call ice out perch spot. In March, in resort and guide communities, we call it Perch Madness. March is a time when a lot of people come out to fish perch because the ice thicknesses are always consistent to being thicker or the thickest of the winter, and people feel safe to take machinery or be able to drive on some bodies of water. So there's always a good perch bite. But in March, they really school up, getting ready for the big spawn. All right, there we go. Ooh, jumbo. Gotta love them. Look at that big spoon that thing hit. I like aggressive perch, or creating aggression in the perch. Jig real aggressive, draw them in, and they love flashy food. If it's flashing, it makes them mad. They want to eat it. There you go, buddy. There's some bigger ones down there. I want to get them. Sometimes perch schools can be small ones, like 6 individual fish. Sometimes there's hundreds, and the hundreds are fun, but I'll take the pods when they come through. And you could drill. Sometimes, and you hear this all the time, people will drill out a whole area, but a couple of holes catch all the fish. And why the fish move through those little areas and nowhere else? Well, could be a bottom contour change. Even on large bodies of water like Red Lake, a 1 foot contour or less can be a spot where walleyes come through. Well, perch are the same way. You wouldn't know until you drain the whole lake or look at your lake master on humminbird. And there might be a 1 foot contour you'll notice, or more, and that's where the fish go. And that is their cruising lane. So something to remember, and we've always been talking about this as guides. I talked about cryptic cruising lanes. Why do they go in certain areas? They go from point A to point B, whether it's a piece of structure swimming from one to another or across an open flat. They always go through the same areas. This is their travel route. So do deer. So you got to find a good ambush spot, your deer stand.
So it seems to me personally, at least in a lot of different situations, that you'll have a lot of like smaller perch that like to hang around, but the bigger ones are always roamers.
Yeah.
And every time I fished with you, I've seen that, and I like to run that underwater camera, and you know, every time I bust it out and look down there, like that's what I'm seeing is like these little ones that are hanging around, and you can see that too on Bros Mega Live as well. But
yeah,
do you have any theories on why like the bigger ones are roaming around and the smaller ones are just kind of like hanging out in the area?
Well, the bigger perch are the predators of the pod, and they're super aggressive. And if they're down there, you're going to catch them. They come in real fast. But some are a little bit finicky, and so you'll get some fish that always hit, big or small. But there's always a mixed bag with perch, and the bigger ones are the ones that come out of the school, chase the little ones away to get the crayfish or the minnows. And but having a lot of fish around, you know, the big ones are going to come through, and there are times you have to move. There's some areas that are only small perch, only a couple 100 yards away. They're little French fry perch, little finger-sized perch. You go over this way, small perch, and literally little micro areas hold fish, and could be a little depression. It's more than just contours. So take everything. Take the structure, vegetation, the contours if nothing existed, and even in lakes with weeds or brush or trees, you know, in the flooded lakes, you take away all the structure, all the contents, and there's still a shape to the land. And finding the best contour with structure and everything is all one big happy perch spot, and that's what you want.
Oh, there's one on the screen.
Yeah, I see him coming. He's right. He's got it. All right. Here's the thing. This time of year, fishing can get really slow. Nice jumbo. But you can beat the midwinter blahs and blues by going for big jumbo perch. But just remember, drill, but don't over drill spots. Let them swim through. You'll catch them. Size up your spoons, your presentations. A bigger chunk of minnow and bigger, flashier, brighter spoons. You can even try some the coffin spoons, the brobug spoons, and then you're going to catch bigger fish. But you know me, I like action, don't I?
Brian definitely likes action. I can promise you that. I've gone fishing with Brian enough that the perch just, I mean, he can smell them. So it seems like we're always on them, and perch is always a ball. And when it's midwinter like this, it gets tough. You know, sometimes an alternative like perch, you could put the walleye sticks away for a little bit, chase some perch. And yeah, thank you all for watching all the way to the end of this video. If you liked it and you enjoyed it and you learned something, hit that little red subscribe button down below, and we will see you in the next one.
All right, see ya.